Hey, this is Will from Survivors of Suicide Loss. I facilitate the Forest Ranch group, and I'm here with Allie, who's here to talk a little bit about our Walk in Remembrance with Hope and give us a little bit of her experience. Allie, can you tell us how you became a survivor of suicide loss?
Yes, in 2010, I lost my husband to suicide.
What was his name?
His name is Andrew Perez, but we called him Andy, and he was 42 years old.
I think you said he had some military experience as well.
Yeah, he served our country quite well. He started with as a reserve, Army Reserve, as a tank mechanic, and later spent the last 15 years of his life serving for the government and the Border Patrol, United States Border Patrol agent.
Did you have any idea that he was struggling? I know a lot of our vets come back and have PTSD, but did it seem like he was having any problems or anything like that?
It it did not seem to be that way. He was so successful in his job and worked his way up the top and started his own it's called an air mobile unit, and worked so hard and was so proud to be in the position that he wanted from the time he was in high school, and was a real warrior with, this heroic kind of mentality, because he would help a lot of people, out in the field, who were stranded and sick and, near death. And it gave him a lot of hope, I guess, amidst all the chaos with his job, where he could help people in a different way. Um, so this was a complete shock to me. But I also do know that, that there was a lot of stress with his work, long days, hard weeks, and a lot of overtime, a lot of commuting. And I think just the last year of his life, he became a little discouraged, probably, politically too, but never to the point where he couldn't pick himself back up, because there was times throughout his career where, that was pretty uh, demanding just of his time, and he would get exhausted, just mentally and physically exhausted. So I've seen him pull himself through so many times, and I just don't know why, or, how this that last year was the one that ultimately took him down.
Yeah, I can relate a lot. It sounds like he was a very strong, always striving individual. I, it's hard to tell, and we always have those questions that never really get an answer in these situations about what was different this time. So, can you tell me a little bit about how you found survivors of suicide loss?
The night that he took his life, I believe it was a PERT team. They came over and just left a lot of literature for me. And of course, in that moment, you just put it aside. And after that, I moved and was going through all the resources and information, and found SOSL through that, and decided to attend. And I started with the meetings, the group meetings, and just then went to the walk, and eventually just kept coming to various events offered, and took some educational courses on how to recognize depression, and just found a lot of educational resource tools through SOSL that I found so helpful through my time and my, you know, my healing, my just how to get back into life after this tragedy where I couldn't
That's
find help really anywhere else.
that's great that you were able to find a way to give back as well, because I know, especially for me, giving back to SOSL has been a big part of me kind of finding meaning in my loss, and then also doing the QPR training and trying to help out my community, being a little bit more of a mental health advocate. I was always afraid before, and now after I've had this loss, I feel, the more I can do to try to help reduce the stigma, help give people resources, it just gives my life a little bit more meaning. And so tell me a little bit about what you do for the walk, because I know we have the walk in remembrance coming up September 8th, and I think this is the 18th year, and I know you're in charge of the Remembrance tent, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Right. Yeah. So the Remembrance tent is, I always feel like it's a more intimate time for survivors where they can just open up more and share really what's on their heart. And after all of the day that we walk and everything else, it's just kind of a time where they come and they'll share those intimate stories and details of their lost one. And it's an opportunity. They can also bring pictures of their loved ones. They write notes about their loved ones. And it just is a very intimate time to get personal. And it's really, I just really enjoy helping them at that moment because it's a safe place, first of all, where they can come and cry. I've cried with others, and I'll just step aside with those and let them talk and tell what happened. It may be their first walk, or somebody invited them, and it's you're never prepared for this day, but um, there's so many different places at the walk where you can work through your pain and get help. And I feel like just listening to that, the survivors, and helping them is brings me a lot of comfort too. And I'm just really grateful to be able to be there for them in this time of suffering. And it's I'm just really grateful that I'm there for them.
We're glad you are doing it as well, because it's not easy listening to people's heartache and grief like that. That can be draining too. So it's good that you are there and you're capable, and I'm glad that it's meaningful to you, because it shows how far you've come with your grief, and how, despite someone maybe suffering early in their loss, that they can take strides to find a little bit more meaning and purpose in their life. So, do you walk at the walk as well?
I do, yes. And um, I just love coming alongside others during that walk. And I always find a friend, and we just talk it out. And it's just a very good opportunity for people to come and share and feel heard, and know that they're not alone, that we all understand because we've been in this grief and this trauma. And it just, the day really makes an impact on people to know when they see others that there is hope, and they can, and they will. And it's in time that, you know, as they keep coming back and join SOSL groups. So this walk is a wonderful opportunity for everyone, no matter where you are in in your loss.
That- That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your
Thanks.
time and telling us about the Remembrance Tent. And again, the walk is September 8th. You can sign up online and start your own team. Check-in starts at 7 a.m. and then the actual event starts at 8. And hopefully you'll see Allie over at the Remembrance tent this year, and we'll see you guys out there.